it closer. Can everybody hear me now?
You want the mic?
Huh?
You want the mic over?
Do you have it? The what?
They got the little thing. The mic.
The microphone? Do we have the microphone kit?
Yeah, tell them when.
It's on 400.
Yeah, it's on 400.
It's on
I got it.
Ah, there we go. There's Bill. Yay! Go.
Oh,
Hey, get the mic.
there's a mic in there.
While they're
In
doing
the
that,
bottom. Oh, can you?
Okay. All right, so with quality assurance and performance improvement, what we want to look at is systems. With everything we do, we no longer want to place the blame or point the finger or when we have a problem, we have an issue or something goes wrong, we want to look at the system problem, not at the individual. All of the time, unless it's intentional, it's always a system problem. It's not an individual problem. So we talked about a few weeks ago that we talked about all of our strengths, and then we talked about our opportunities for improvement. Anybody remember that? You guys remember that? And we talked about our most important thing that we want to do is work on communication. Right? That was our most important, our biggest obstacle. So I figured the best thing that we can do is to do a root cause analysis on our communication. So our biggest problem is that we don't know which, we can't give residents we don't have everything that we need to do for those patients. We don't have all the information there when we're taking care of them, right? Is that some of the problem? Am I accurately stating the problem? Somebody else wants to chime in if you want to, because everybody needs information about the patients when we're taking care of them, right? And everybody wants to give information sometimes. Therapists have information to give to the CNAs. Cooks have information to give to the therapists and to the CNAs. CNAs have information to give back to the therapists. And we are all talking about the same patients. Housekeepers have information when they're in the rooms. They notice that Mrs. Jones isn't getting out of bed. She's not as chatty as she usually is. There's not. And then we also have we get information from the families. Am I right? So families on care plans. So the families and the residents give us information in a care plan meeting. Aha. Now I stop. Okay, can you hear me now? Yes. Oh, good. I don't have to scream either. That's much better. Okay, so when a family and a resident gives us information on the care plan, so that information is put on a care plan, but then what happens to it? Has anybody here ever read a care plan? Raise your hand if you've read a care plan. Oh, wow. That's right. Okay, so that may be part of our root cause. So the problem is communication with the residents, right? So we have right up here the problem. And when I write that down, I mean communication of needs. Not the resident communicating needs, but everybody else. Okay, so why do we have a problem? Why do we, anybody care to guess? Okay, so part of it, so why is maybe care plans not accessible? Okay. So, why aren't care plans accessible? Let's ask all the whys. And we need to be brutally honest here.
Is there privacy reasons?
Okay, maybe privacy. But we're caregivers, so we're all allowed access to the care plans, right? So why else are they not accessible? Maybe we don't know where to look. Good idea, good point. Okay. I saw another hand up over here. Yes, ma'am.
We weren't trained to look.
Not trained. Okay. Okay, what else? go, and this is really good. Good answers. And I want you to be brutally honest here. We want to solve a problem. We want to solve this system. And there are no wrong answers. Yes?
Some of us may not have time to go read a care plan.
Good. No time. Okay. Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know anything about a care plan, but just like last group, communication with everybody. Communication.
Lack of
The lack of communication. Right, so all of this causes the lack of communication. So that's what we want to, that's what we're trying to figure out a conduit or a way. So maybe, and they don't, if they're inconvenient, right? The place where they're at? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Educated. Maybe some of us don't know the importance of why there is a care plan. Because we're not trained. Well, that would probably have to do with training, but I would say education.
So you don't realize their importance, right? And that would be under training, certainly, certainly. So okay, so now we have care plans that aren't accessible. Why? Because, well, they don't know where to look. Why? Because maybe they're inconvenient to look, or they don't realize the importance, or they don't have time to look, or they're not trained to look, or maybe they think they're private and they shouldn't look. So those are a lot of good reasons, right? So why further? Why we have all of these reasons. What can anybody think of something we could do to make them now, to address this, to maybe make them accessible? And yes, ma'am.
Find out where the person that we would talk to, who we would talk to try to get this information. Someone who, maybe if a nurse knows where a care plan is, maybe we need to find out who we talk to as well to find out about the care plan. Someone
Okay.
that is trained.
Okay, so we want an expert, right?
Right.
Care plan experts. I brought two of them with me today. I brought Edith back here and Debbie O. But of course, they're the only ones that sounds like that looks at our care plan. So. Which is okay. We want them. So now, where would be a place that would be accessible to all for the care plans? What?
On their door,
What's that?
right by their door.
By their door? Okay. That's a good option. That's a very good option. I like that idea. Other ideas? Is that a HIPAA violation? Only if we leave it out in the open. If we cover it, if we put it in a folder, it's not a HIPAA violation, but will you raise the cover to look at it? Yeah, but you're not going to unlock it to look at it, right? Would that be pretty inconvenient? How many people would need a key? Yeah, that might be tough. It's not a bad idea, though. I understand the concept that she's looking at. The concept. Of course, we want the residents to be able to look at them, too.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Liz.
Well, as far as the staff, what about, because a lot of the staff do charting, have it to where we can look it up in the charting, and then anyone else may need to know, all they would need is supposed to get into the computer. It wouldn't be very difficult.
Okay, but we've already talked about accessibility, and we want it available to everyone. We want Brent to be able to look at a care plan if he wants to. Yes, ma'am.
In one of the facilities I worked before, what they do is they educate everybody that it's in the closet, so it's hidden, unless you open the closet and then you're in the room. I mean, privately you're working with this patient, so HIPAA code, the HIPAA is there. You're working individually with the patient. No one else will see unless they open the drawer, but everybody should know that the care plan is right there. I don't know.
That's a good idea. Did it work?
Yes.
It did work.
Yes.
So CNAs and everybody
CNAs knows
looked
that
at the
it's
care
everybody.
plan.
Yeah.
And,
It doesn't matter which hall you are assigned. If you go into that hall, you know that the information is about this patient, the weight bearing status, whatever, of the information that everybody needs to know, it's in this care plan. It's
Nice.
inside the closet. Yeah, it's
Inside the closet.
No one
That's-
else is know, but.
That's a good idea. Yes, ma'am.
Well, it has to do with a care plan, and it's something that I've noticed when I've worked on the floor, is like, I don't know which one of my patients are a DNR or a full code.
Right.
The other thing is, I don't know who has C. diff, I don't know who has MRSA, I don't know what type of precautions that I need to have before I start taking care of them. Half the time the day's already gone and I feel like, kind of like scrubbing myself down
Okay.
after the fact, but
Good point. No, good
but
point.
that's part of the care plan.
So that should all be part of that information that you see.
And we're there, you know, we're there.
Uh-huh.
And it's, you know, we all have to be first aid and CPR certified, so it's like, use a code and.
Right. No, that's a very good point. Very good point. Did you guys have something? Back here, so where else could we put it? So do you guys think the closet is a good idea?
Right
Yeah.
behind the door. Right behind the door is how we used to do it.
Yeah.
You knew what the weight bearing, you knew hip precautions, you knew how to transfer the patient, whether they were max assisted 1 or standby assist.
Like in a folder behind.
You know, it was right behind.
So was it in a folder behind the
No,
door?
it was just on a clipboard, because whoever's in that room is probably family.
I like the idea of the clipboard.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of the clipboard, because then when we do a room change and when that patient switches out, we
Just
can,
take it
we can switch it around. It'd be easy to switch around.
Closet.
Yes, it can get forgotten in the closet, so on a clipboard.
But now, with, at the double rooms, I'm sorry.
Or you have the numbers, you can have the numbers. We used to have it where you had the number and the name of the patient, and anybody could go at that patient or get that patient up, because your information's right there. Oh, okay, that one takes max assisted 2, I need to go get the 8. Or like even anybody walking by, oh,
Or
that's
if it's
standby
just min
assist.
assist, and then I can
And
go
then,
in.
so that saves
Yeah.
our backside too for
Right.
calls, you know,
But now you're talking behind the door here,
behind the door.
behind the door, but then, the patient of bed 1B, the family and friends would know what's going on with 1A.
This
That's
is
a
true.
violation.
This is true. So
So
maybe inside the
maybe you should do like an inside their room.
Yes, 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 Vicki.
Maybe have a binder or something available that you just get.
Oh, no.
I like the idea of the information near the resident. Does everybody else like the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. A what?
Like the clipboard.
Oh, like a clipboard folder, okay. Okay.
So just have the person's room number on it and maybe the name or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I've seen that in facilities that I visit before, and in the hospitals, they have it covered up.
Okay, so they could just have a privacy sheet right over
Yeah,
the
Like
top
a
of it
name
with the name.
25.
Right, yes ma'am.
I have a question. If there's gonna be like on the back of the doors or whatever, what about some of the patients, like I know down here on 500, that will reach up there when trying to get the information or get it off the door? Is it gonna be where it within reach for the resident or not? Because I know if you got a piece of paper up there and they go up there and like, oh, what is this? And then we can't find it anymore and it's not there, who's gonna be responsible for replacing it all the
And
time?
that's part of the system too. That's a very good point as well. So the upkeep is a problem too, huh? Right, well, we'll have to update it as we go along. So as we do new care plans, then Edith can print the new care plans, all the new care plans that we have, and give them to the unit managers, and they can. Or Edith can delegate it.
Delegate, there you go.
Yes, ma'am, yes, Liz.
My question is, if we put it where any of us can see that is a good idea, but what if there's a family member who, they may be allowed to visit, but they're not supposed to find out any information about that resident, because sometimes you do have family members that we're not supposed to tell any of the information. What's to stop them from looking?
That's a good point too.
What information are you putting behind there? What are you looking at?
Yeah, right.
Are you just looking at the
Right.
basics transfer, safety, you know, or you can fit like isolation, and then they can go to the nurse's station and see what isolation is.
They could put contact precautions, and then they can go to the nurse and find out what contact precautions it
You
is.
could also keep a
Yeah.
binder at the nurse's station, and when you assume your duties in the shift, go in there and it's there for you to read.
Or you could write "see nurse" on some items that we would want to keep, you know, protected. Because yes, you know, some of the visitors might need to know too that they're on thickened liquids, that they, you know, are on only mechanical soft. Don't give them regular, you know, don't bring in a Wendy's hamburger for them.
They're on renal diet.
Yes, ma'am.
How many nursing assistants or others actually go to the nurse and ask for a report on their individual patient when they change a shift?
Who all knows what a care plan is?
I have, that was my next question.
There
Well,
you
I want to
go.
know how many people actually go and ask each other this.
I've done
Okay, less than 5. So, care plans are easily accessible under the care plan tab in the charts too.
But see, that's just the point, Mary Kay. They're not easily accessible. They're inconvenient for them because they're running around here taking care of patients, doing, you know, and so that it's time consuming to do that. So we're trying to figure out a vehicle for this information that'll be more easily accessible. Well, but see, it's not at the point of contact. I think it would be actually very helpful for me because I go into a lot of rooms and, you know, I'm asking the patient this morning on 400, I'm asking the gentleman, I'm like, okay, he wanted to get into bed and I knew everybody else was busy. I said, well, how many people does it take to transfer you usually before I'm going to go pick him up and put him into bed? And he said, well, there's usually one girl. I said, well, how much help does she usually give you? Well, she gives me a lot of help. Okay. He said, but you can do it. Okay. I would have preferred a little more information. Yes, ma'am.
On that situation, you're lucky enough if the patient is in it to tell you
You're exactly right. Yes, you're exactly right.
Probably his one-person help is a two-person in reality.
Right, right. I think he was just thinking, I want to go to bed, and this is my
And how cognizant is that patient? How cognizant, is that what you said? Oh, I didn't hear.
Well, I'm hoping that he's telling me the truth, or he's realistic about his Exactly. I'm just hoping he's realistic. Alrighty. So what do we think? Do we want to try them in the closet, or by the bedside, or behind the door, or maybe a clipboard on the wall?
I think the latter. Clipboard on the wall, in the same room. Not on the wall. I mean, not behind the door.
Okay, so those favor clipboard on the wall, raise your hands. So those favor the closet, raise your hands. All right. Those favoring the drawer by the bedside. Are you just going to keep your hand up? That's true. That's true. Did you have a question, Kenny?
I was just saying, what I was saying was, we'll sit here and we'll talk about this and that and everything, but it ain't no accountability. And it ain't no communication amongst us adults. And so we can sit here and talk all day, take up time, but when we leave from here, it's going to go back to what it always is.
No, we got to work on the system. That's not,
Let's be honest. Don't play here like we something we ain't.
No, we got to talk about quality assurance, performance improvement. We're looking at systems. No point fingers, no laying blame. No point fingers, and if you guys want to heckle me, you got to come closer. No hecklers in the far field. All right, so if we're looking at quality assurance and performance improvement, that means looking at systems. We're not laying the blame, we're not pointing the fingers. Any system that relies on you remembering to do something or is inconvenient, that's out of your workspace, isn't going to work, right? We got to make it convenient. We have to make it, and then we reinforce that we look at if it's right there next to you on the wall and you don't look at it, it's our own fault, right? All righty. So who wants to be on my committee to develop this sheet of paper? Stephanie, I got one volunteer. Who else? Come on now. I need a therapist.
Therapist come with all of these ideas.
They ain't put their hand
All right, I have Kathy.
All right. You guys know my name, right?
I have it multiple ways in this building. All right, I need a CNA. CNA, I need somebody, nursing assistant, somebody who will speak up.